Hey folks, Marlon here with JCI Handyman Service, back again with the under deck drawer project. I have here 4 drawers that I've constructed, painted the insides, and then those full sheets of plywood that are on the grass, those become the top of the drawer, and actually those get mounted to the underside of the deck. So I'm going to be showing how to do that today. Building that section of the under deck drawers. So that's what I'll be working on today. So this is what the top of the drawer looks like before adding the rails and the pulley, or wheels rather. So you got the 2x6s that run along the length, and then you have one of these. That's a 2x3 that I cut, and you can see that there, it sits in the front. Same here is another one that I built right here. Now these screws are what you use here just to hold the 2x6s in, but they're not structural or anything. They're just to hold the 2x6s and the 2x3 in place. Then you flip it over. I mean, I take it that's what they're for anyway. That's because they don't really provide any structural support. They just keep everything lined up. So for the next step, which is adding the rails. So they tell you put 11 on the top, so I just space them out. So I put 3 across the front, and then I put 4 along the length of the drawer. Just space them out, and then you don't need any along the back because the back stays open. That's where your rails is going to receive your rails from. Yep. So I painted these today earlier in the day, black. So I'm just gonna let the paint cure overnight. Today's actually Saturday, so I'll probably be back here on Monday. And then what I'll do is I'll flip these over to paint and be nice and hard, so I don't scratch it up like I did here. And then I'll add the rails at that point, and I'll show that on video what that looks like. Hey folks, Marlon here with JCI Handyman Service, back again on Monday morning. Gonna be showing how to do the top section of the under deck drawers. I have well, I guess where I left off last time, I painted the tops and inside of all the drawers. So that was on Saturday. So they've had about, Saturday evening and all of Sunday to dry. So paint's nice and dry and hard. So I'm going to be showing. So these are the tops here in black, and flipped over. They look like that. So let me stop the video, put the camera around, and I'll give some more detail. Alright, so here we go. So this is one top that's ready. Here you can see that it gets pulleys. It gets 5 of your long bolts that get screwed up into the joist. It actually gets more bolts, but you put them in after you position this section to the underside of the deck. So there you can see it has the tracks already installed. So the tracks and the pulleys, or wheels. Not really pulleys, but they're wheels. There we go, there's a better angle for you without the sun glare. So these are your long screws, and these are your short screws in here and here. Alright, so I'm about to do one more, and you can see how I lay out for everything. Just makes it faster for me. So the tracks, it's 3 per side. They're held down in place. When you're starting out, you start off at the end, and there's going to be the overhang just like that. So you would position the track. Actually, you would start off with this bracket, and you place it on the end. I line up with the plywood and not the 2x6s. The reason why sometimes the 2x6s are a little bit long, so I line up with the plywood. If your plywood ends at the very edge, I mean if your 2x6 ends at the edge of the plywood, then you can just line up this way. That's just the way I do that. Alright, so you would position that bracket just like so. This is kind of like doing the drawers. Then your metal bracket, you get your overhang just like that. Then you grab 2 of these, and then you go here, one on either side. Then you grab your 2 short screws, and boom. Alright, so what you end up getting is that. Alright, continuing down the line, it would look like that. So again, you would grab your bracket, it will go there, and instead of using the 2 holes that are close together, you just use one of the holes at the end. Okay, like that. Alright, because you need the other nipple to connect to your next bracket, just like so. Alright, and you take your brackets and your screws and you keep going. When you get to your last bracket, so you know you keep going. This is your next one. Alright, see if I can get a better angle here. Yeah, that's better. Better for the camera. There we go. You keep going. Your 3rd track. There. See that? And you keep going. And once you get to the end, instead of putting this on the very end, you're going to use those 2 holes that are close together. Alright? So you would use these 2. And that's how you would end. Alright? Just like this. Just like it is over here. See that last hole? That last hole is empty. You can see the dimples there. Alright? So that's all there is to it, really. Oh, over here, I'll give some details. When you're attaching the wheels, here I've laid out my screws. And so it gets 1 long screw here on your wheels, and then you get 2 of the short screws. One goes here, and the other one on the side over here. Alright, and all you do is you take your wheels and you position it at the corner of your 2x6, just like that. Right? So when you're done, it's gonna look like that one. Get the camera to focus. There we go. So it's gonna look like that. You're gonna have the two of your shorter screws, one here, and then you have your long screw preset for when you're hanging, and you can drive. So you will finish, when you finish, you will drive those into your deck joist. Now your measurements, you're gonna measure over from this where the two pieces of wood meet. You're gonna measure over 2 inches to this line here. All right, you measure over 2 inches to this line. From the edge of the board, you measure up 7/8. Why 7/8? Because your rim joist is gonna be, or all of your joists anyway, are gonna be 1.5 inches thick. And when you drive your screws in, you want your screws in the middle of the joist. That's why it's 7/8. So at the intersection of 2 inches and 7/8 is where you're going to put this screw. All right, so all these screws are 7/8 from the edge. All right, but for this one, you're going to measure over 1.5 inches. All right, so they give you 1.5 inches in the manual or instructions. They give you 2 inches. They give you this measurement. They give you the 7/8. They don't tell you why you're doing it, but this is why. All right, so you're gonna land in the middle of the joist. All right, so if this piece of wood is your joist, you want to land right in the middle when you're screwing up to the underside of the deck. All right, so these screws are long enough so they go all the way through into your deck joist, into the underside of your deck joist. Now remember, this is this is sitting upside down right now for assembly. It's gonna hang, it's gonna flip over, and then you're gonna screw up into the underside of the deck joist and rim joist. All right, so the screws that get pre-installed are only the ones for the rim joist, and all the other ones, after you you position the top in place, then you're going to drive the other screws in. All right, and they give you a total of 16 more screws for that. So you would have, for example, 2 screws here, and then if your joists are 16 inches on center, then the next 16 inches you're going to have 2 more screws that's going to go in the next joist, and so on and so forth. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. All right, these are the drawer stoppers. What you do is that's what they look like. Okay, they go on both sides. So what you do is you put them in place, drill the holes for them. But do not install them at this point. Just drill the holes so you have the holes ready to go. And then once the drawers are in place, then you install the stoppers with the screws. But go ahead and pre-drill them while you have the drawers out. It'll just make it easier, so you don't have to climb into the drawer and try to drill holes. All right, once the drawer is installed, you're basically reaching in from the back of the drawer, putting the stopper in place, you putting the screw, and then you're putting the screws in, and then on the other side you'll put the bolts. Well, no, I'm saying that wrong. The bolts go in from, the screws going from this side, the carriage bolts, and then the nut goes on the inside here. All right. Okay, so here I'm just setting up. I brought the 4 tops for the drawers, and I just set them underneath the deck. Now they're sitting upside down. All right. So, and that's just because of the bolts and the wheels. You know, I don't want to drag that on the concrete and in the dirt over here. So I position them in place. I also don't want to leave these on top of the client's grass, you know, because you know, I don't want to burn the grass if they're sitting there for more than a day. So I might be mounting these up today. But yeah, so this is just how I set up, and see how everything is gonna kind of sit when it's installed in a deck, because you know the top is the same size as the drawer, and obviously, of course, you know, you're going to take your measurements beforehand, but you know, just once you have everything built, it's kind of a good way just to kind of lay the tops in there, and you can kind of see how everything is going to flow. All right, so whether you're working alone or with a helper, you're going to want to build some kind of support mechanism just to hold the top of the drawer. It'll also help when you're draping the plastic over the top of the drawer. So this is what I have. It's just a 2x4 as temporary support. All right, that's how I did that. All right, here's the top of the drawer flipped over. 2x4s are just my system for working alone, keeping everything clean, getting the top of the drawer in position to be mounted to the underside of the deck. All right, here's an angle of how I'm achieving this alone. All right, I've got the tail end propped up on there. Now I'm going to go around to the other side and slide it in. Okay. There you go. There's an angle, another angle. I've got the clamps just kind of holding it at the front. There's that beam that I installed to hold it from the middle. All right. All right, so once I drive a couple of these screws in to the deck joist there, then I'll drive a few screws in along the sides, and then I'll take that beam down and use it for the next drawer. All right. So the kit comes with a very large sheet of plastic. It's thick, it feels very durable. So this is the time when you would actually drape that over the top of the drawer. All right, so right here you can see I'm about to pull it through to the other end. So it's just to help, you know, keep rainwater out of the drawers. Here's a technique that I use to raise the drawers gradually. I just keep inserting 2x4s. This is if you're working alone and you're trying to mount the drawer. It can be challenging I just keep shimming it with whatever wood that I have until I can get the wheels to line up with the tracks. See, I'm close over there, and I just keep raising it by, you know, 1.5 inches each time. Alright, so end of day, got one drawer hung up. Here's how it looks. These stoppers that keep the drawer from falling out. Here it is. You could just reach in and you know, install those. So after you hang the drawer, just reach in and put that in. That keeps the drawer from falling out when you're pulling it out. This piece is for the lock. It gets mounted up onto here. You can go either way, I suppose, whatever you need. I think it's this way actually, or that way. But I'll do that after I install the drawer face. This is going to get skirting around the entire deck. And that skirting is going to cover the front of the drawer. So once I do that and determine how much spacing I have, then I'll install this piece underneath. All right. There it is. And a view from the back. So that's how it looks hanging from the back. Okay, don't even remember what day this is, but I finished up on the deck drawers. Still have the skirting to do. So, got all 4 drawers mounted. And this plastic, you can trim that back if you want to, of course. That just helps to keep the rainwater out. I'll show you what it looks like from underneath. There we go. All right, that's what all 4 of them looks like from the back. See that? That's how they hang. All right. That's it. Okay, today added some of the skirting that's going to go around the deck to the drawer. Here it is, as you can see. I chiseled out this section of wood here because, and the reason why you have to do that is the screws that they give you are not long enough to go through 3/4 inch material, the 1/2 inch material for the drawer, and then, you know, still have any space for the back there. So you either have to find longer screws or you have to do a workaround. So they could, that would be my one critique, they could give you longer screws here, and same for this mechanism here for the drawer handle, because when you have it inset 3/4 of an inch, there's less room for your hand to grab onto the handle, but it still works just fine. You can close the drawer, because most of the times anyway, once you unlock the drawer, you can put your hand in here and just pull the drawer out anyway. So still works just fine, but you know, if they gave you longer screws for that, for the drawer handles, I think it would be better. All right, so that's it for today. Oh, there's going to be some more skirting that goes down here. So the entire deck, underneath the deck, both decks, the deck and the screen and patio, will be enclosed. There'll be a gate down there, 2 gates actually, and all this will be enclosed with no gaps underneath. Well, not like it is now. That's just unfinished. I set some concrete posts. I'm still working on the rest of that. So once that's dry, then I'll complete the rest of the skirting. All right. Progress so far today. Here it is, finished product. I'll be back in about 2 months to stain. Those are 4 deck drawers. I'll open this one. The others are locked already. Homeowners already put belongings in, but I'll just show how far they extend out. There we go. Just needed to put the phone down for a second to use two hands. Since I extended the drawer fully. So I put in 2 gates for my customer. This is the bigger of the 2 gates. It's about 32 inches wide here. And the other one's 27, I think that was. All right.